Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear. Just really don't want to ruin this by not fucking recording through the mixer again. All right. Okay, guys, we are here on the Sunday of, this would be the last day of the US Open, is that correct?
Also known as Easter.
Oh, yeah.
To the general population.
Yeah, it's also Easter, I guess.
If you're into that.
As my family would prefer that I observe the holiday as. That's kind of the big thing going on in the world of powerlifting right now. And really in the world of anything fitness related in the last couple of weeks, because Europe's Strongest Man's over, Arnold's over, CrossFit's dicking around until regionals. And that's pretty much everything strength-wise.
This had a lot of hype going into it where I think it like transcended some of just the typical powerlifters that are interested in it.
Yeah.
You know, like people are watching and taking notice of what was going on here to like for one, there's really big lifters and they're going to see big attempts and stuff, but also to see like if this turned out to be what it looked like it could be, or like if the execution was there.
Yeah. And so what, for people that might not know, and I don't even know if I know completely, the meet was called the US Open.
Yep.
It was a USPA meet, which is one of the bigger federations around.
I'm not positive on the fact of this, but it might be bigger than USAPL. If it's not, it's the second. Those are the two, but like those two are much larger than every other federation. Yep. So it's
And so what did they call it? It was like the CETC US Open or something. And I never took the time to look. What is that, like the sponsor, or what are those initials even?
Do you know about it?
I have no idea.
Someone could fact check me on this and tell me I'm wrong.
We should probably we could have even just Googled this.
Yeah, we should probably start this whole segment right now. We're going to be guessing a lot of things going ahead.
There was like one guy, a wealthy guy, backing this.
Okay.
And that I don't know the specifics, but like for some reason or another, it was financially advantageous for him to dump money into this. Okay. And I don't understand the specifics of it beyond that, or if that's even the case, but yeah.
I'm just trying to find out what the CETC stands for in here.
Is that what it actually is, CETC?
Yeah. Well, according to the NASDAQ, it's Hong Lee Clean Energy Tech. I can't imagine that's it.
Probably not.
Like what from? I don't know. That doesn't sound like what I would guess, but it did sound like it was like a large business that's not necessarily tied into powerlifting in any way.
Yeah, if I remember on like the Chad Wesley Smith's podcast, they were talking. I thought it was some like I don't know. Yeah, it was just some big money company, and they just started piling money into this project.
So then, what makes this unique from a lifting standpoint is, a big national or maybe even international meet isn't unheard of nowadays. It's just the fact that this would be the first one that's put up some major prize money, and was supposed to be kind of drawing in all the big names, have some big prize money, and some big sponsors to go with it too. And I think, was it best lifter, 40 grand was on the table?
Best lightweight, best heavyweight.
Okay.
So, and maybe women's also, best women's. Each of those categories, 40 grand a piece.
Okay, and they did men's heavyweight was just anyone over the 198
in
class?
The 198 weight class or above, which to me, I would pick the 220 weight class.
That one
above.
makes more sense to me too, yeah.
Like that just seems like the logical separation is 220 and above for heavyweight. Mm-hmm. Because taking a 198 pound guy and putting him with a 398 pound guy, even though you're using a Wilks, it's still
And especially in the USPA where they have a 308-pound class and a super heavyweight. You know, it's not like USAPL where they cut it off earlier. So there are those extra classes, but I guess I don't know how low the classes go either there. So that's maybe it is an even split. It just doesn't seem like there'd be like
181, 165, and then it's like 140 something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anyone personally that's that small.
So I have never met a person that weighs that little.
I don't really know many people that weigh less than 200 pounds. So
I have it. I don't even remember who said it. It might have been, maybe it's an Arnold thing, but it was. I have it written up in my garage as anyone under 200 pounds is a woman.
Is that meant to be offensive to women?
No, only to people who are under 200 pounds. There's a Venn diagram I could draw
of who it all
where
who
it could
exactly
be. You
that
could be
offends.
over 200 pounds and still be a woman, but if you're under it, you're definitely a woman. In my gym, or in my garage, at the very least.
Garage rules.
So, Tanner, you got the live feed.
I purchased the live feed. It's not free.
Did you
how much was it?
Did you use the Gracie code to save
I
money?
used a different code. It was someone else that I follow, and it was like KET. I'm not even sure whose code it was, but yeah.
Yeah, because again, this was a premier event, and as with premier events, they offered this extra service of a live feed, which is something exciting. And if you do care about powerlifting, having the opportunity, to throw in $10 to show your support and watch it seems like a great idea on the surface.
Right, and a lot of powerlifting meets will have a free live stream.
Yes, yeah, a lot of them do.
So when you go to charge for a live stream, there's a very different expectation between if you're for free logging on and it's freezing and not working, you're like, that pisses me off. But like, this is free. How
Yeah, because the minute you pay for something, you're paying for it. It's a premium product.
It really
at that
doesn't
point.
matter what the price is, you know. So I paid $10, but it's still I logged in, put in my credit card information, and like gave them $10. So I want
It to work at the very least.
And there was, even before this happened, everyone was talking about this live stream. Like,
oh yeah, that was hyped up big time.
Yeah,
that was the first time ever I've thought about like watching a live stream like days in advance of a powerlifting meet. I guess USAPL did have their live stream last year, which was the first time I'd ever watched one for nationals. But yeah, this was the one that I like was putting some thought in ahead of time. Like, oh, maybe I should buy that thing. Like that could be a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I did buy it then, and I guess my just review of it is I started watching in the squats. Squats were already underway. They were just they were getting going on the last flight. There's 3 flights. I guess let me say Saturday was all the heavyweight men.
Okay.
They all competed on Saturday. Sunday was lightweight men and women competed. So I was watching on Saturday, which was the heavyweight men, and they were in the squats at the time. And it was working all right for a while. But what my opinions of it, what I liked is they were putting up people's names. Like they had a nice looking,
Like an overlay.
an overlay of their names and what weight class they're in. What they didn't put on there ever was how much weight
They're
lifting. Doing, which that's a problem. Like you definitely want that. And I heard a lot of people commenting about that, how they're like, could you at least put up
what the attempt is?
And also there's no one emceeing the
feed.
Live
It's just
stream.
a camera rolling. It's a
It's
webcam.
a camera. They have a live MC, of course, at the meet, who you can hear pretty well, but he's not doing it
For the viewer at home.
Right. He's not doing it for the viewer at home. So he's not doing it
When he says get on your feet and make some noise, he's not talking to you.
Right. It's not like there's a much different way that you would MC that, like if you were broadcasting for a live stream audience versus in a crowd full of 500 people. And it would be way better if they had 2 people that are comfortable talking into a microphone, like having some commentary, and like Yuri Belkin's up there, like talk about him a little bit and where he comes from and give us some background information. Because when you watch the live stream, this is the way powerlifting is, but 90% of the time you're watching it, all you're watching is
the weight's getting changed.
Yeah, the weight's getting changed. And if there was at least someone talking during that, it would be a lot more interesting to keep watching.
And to give you some ideas, like,
like,
Yuri could be going for like Ed Cohen's record here.
Yes, talking and jockeying for position, and there's a lot of talking that could go on that could make it pretty interesting.
Now, that's not to say that job wouldn't be a
Oh,
motherfucker.
that
yeah.
would be an
Could you
incredibly challenging
imagine?
job. Yeah.
Like we've talked about just dicking around and like putting out live stream of some of our just local regional meets, which would just be
Yeah.
fun. The whole thing though is like, Jesus, we're gonna have to talk the whole
Yeah.
time.
But I think this goes right back to your point of like as soon as you had to start paying for it, you kind of expected maybe something more
Yeah.
premium.
Yeah.
And that was I ended up not being able to watch it, but I checked around online to see some things about it, and that was like there were several complaints. The first one being that just the feed wasn't live, like things were chopping, things were lagging.
I didn't even get into that. That's the problem, of course. That like if you're how they present it and everything is one thing, but if it's not actually working, that's
Yeah.
like the primary problem. And it was cutting out quite a bit. I just expected that. Like I would have been shocked if it would have just worked perfectly. But yeah, it was cutting out in and out a lot, and like you couldn't tell like what you missed, and it just makes it really hard to follow anything when it's cutting in and out like that and freezing. So and it pisses you off then once you pay for, like that
Yeah.
pisses you off when it's free,
Yeah.
where you're just like, oh, quit fucking freezing like that, and when after you paid for it, it's like whole new level of
I mean, like
upset.
if you went to a movie theater and like I don't know, 10% of the movie was just cutting out throughout the middle of it for a few minutes, that like you definitely would probably expect to get your money back.
Right.
Like I didn't see the thing. You know what I mean? You didn't let me watch the thing.
Right.
I did not see the live stream at all, so I don't have a whole lot of glorious insight into that. I did see some of the results, primarily some injuries. Larry Wheels, I think, was probably one of the main ones.
Yeah, because I know going into it, like, so that was the other thing we talked about, is there was a lot of names hyped up that got a lot of people excited, because you don't see too often
against each other.
too often during the year this roster of people competing. But it sounds like due to injuries, last minute things, like it ended up not being, and that's not a knock to the organization at all. It's just like things happen to people, and so it sounds like going into it, I'm trying to think of.
Well, Zahir was
that's
a big one that didn't. And I don't. I looked through his Instagram today, and I couldn't find a post where he explained.
I
happened.
saw someone saying that he had like torn his calf muscle or something, because that would have been one of the big guys.
Oh yeah, he would have been
up.
squatting well over 1,000. There was no, not like this is bad, but there was no over 1,000 pound squats, and like that, like this event, like that's where you'd like to see like someone maybe pushing close to 1,000.
But kind of the other thing that's unique about this though is it is the USPA, which they make people walk things out,
and it's out of a squat.
It's out of just the uprights.
Yeah,
or
it's an ER rack
yeah.
is what they're using.
And so you don't see that many guys squatting 1,000 walking it out.
Right,
As far like coming right off the top of my head, I know Zahir does. I don't know, and I know Milanichev does. I don't even know if Zahir does. I know Milanichev does.
I don't know if Zahir's ever walked up,
Yeah.
but he was going to try it.
Oh yeah,
obviously,
for sure. But that immediately cuts down your number of people. I mean,
Yeah.
Ray Williams does, but that's a whole other thing too.
It's like, well, just because Ray Williams, it's like,
Yeah, so I think for some guys that maybe wasn't something that they play with in the first place.
Right.
It's not.
but like with some of those people dropping, and just so on bench press, I when I cut into the squatting, Larry was already done squatting, and I didn't realize he was hurt.
Yeah.
So it got to his flight of bench pressing, and I was stoked to watch him bench press because
He
he's
should be breaking
benching
600
like six.
pretty
Yeah,
easy.
so I was excited to see that, and they called his name. He was the last attempt of the flight for his opening attempt, and he didn't come out, and then they kind of skipped him, and I was like, "What the shit?" Like that's and then I had to look at it and saw that he had torn his quad.
Well, so he on his third attempt
I've got
squat.
the video here. Let's watch it.
yeah.
So our if you're not watching us on the old YouTubes, you're gonna miss this, and that's your fucking loss. But so this is his third attempt. I don't even know what the weight on the bar was.
I want to say it's like 750 or 780, something like that.
I think 749 was his opener, so it must have been.
So he walks
a
it
little
out.
more.
Doesn't look like he's having a lot of fun. Gets to the bottom,
Oh,
and
yeah,
right at the
man,
bottom
yeah.
it goes.
Yeah.
And I don't
Looks
know.
bad.
He grabbed his knee, but I don't know what it was. The thing was the weight like fully crashed on him though
Yeah.
too. Like
And kind of the interesting thing about Larry with all this is this is a federation where you wear wraps.
Yeah, he stayed
it's
in
raw with wraps,
sleeves.
and he stayed in sleeves because I think leading up to it, he had mentioned that just he feels like he's not getting anything out of his wraps. So that is kind of an interesting thing too. Is a lot of times people think, oh, if I had wraps on, I would just squat 100 more pounds instantly.
Right.
And here, you have one of the best guys in the world just saying that
It didn't do much for
He
him.
can't get the wraps to work the way he needs them to.
Right.
So yeah, he was competing against guys that were wearing wraps, and he just had knee sleeves on.
Yeah.
So, do we know for sure what he hurt?
I heard maybe he tore his quad, that
Okay.
it was a quad injury, but
Yeah,
I don't know that for
never
sure. I don't
heard
know
for
that
sure
for
either.
sure.
Okay.
But either way, that doesn't look very pleasant.
No, it also looked like it could have been a hell of a lot worse with
Yeah.
all that weight crashing on him. I mean, because he was down, he was already injured, and then the bar was on him.
So that brings up another issue that people are talking about. USPA's rule is that that's what they squat out of an ER rack, just like USAPL.
Yeah, and I thought I'd read maybe that they can still squat out of a monolift,
As
but
long
they
as
have to walk it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're not using the monolift was created to be the safest piece of equipment that you could squat out of. Is a big plus of it. So like at a world class meet, I'm not saying this is my opinion. Even I kind of like I like the squat stands and
I do too, yeah.
like that's I like that. But the argument is that why are you not you have these world class athletes lifting the most amount of weight in the world? Why aren't you using the premium piece of equipment, which is a monolift and the safest, so that like when that happens, you don't have 7 spotters like trying to catch 900 pounds as it's falling.
Hopelessly trying
Yeah.
to catch 900 pounds.
And that one is the worst case. Anytime someone's basically just getting trapped by the weight,
Yeah.
that's always the worst case
I
scenario.
mean, it is one thing to miss a lift.
yeah, and
Usually,
usually
you can miss a lift, and your spotters will 99 out of 100 times have no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what the point of having spotters is there for. Is if you can't move the weight up, a spotter on a max effort lift for a guy like Larry Wheels, 3, 4, 8 spotters. If there's a catastrophic injury, fucking nothing they're gonna do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna stop that weight from going down.
Right. And if it's in a monolift, they're going to have straps around there. So that's what makes it safe.
Yeah.
Because of the monolift, you can use the straps that hang down from it, and that's going to catch it. Like worst case scenario, it's eventually going to hit the straps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a shame. If it's a torn quad, I'm assuming is a fairly lengthy recovery. What did he say? 8 weeks of
Yeah.
no training was the only thing I saw. I didn't see what the injury was.
and so since
specifically.
it's Larry, just cut it in half, and he'll probably be
When
fine
you're,
and
like,
setting
complete
records.
Freak, yeah. So there was quite a bit of injury coming into it. End of the day, like you can't. That's not the meat's fault
Yeah,
or
there's
anything
just,
like
that's
that.
just
But
kind of bad luck. And
Yeah.
it's just the way things can go.
yeah, seemed like the judging.
I heard the judging was pretty strict, actually.
Yeah, like on I think a lot of the lifters were pissed when they're squatting, and there was a lot of red lights on squats.
yeah.
And it was just like USAPL. You had to definitely break parallel on the squat in order to get it a good call. And they had said leading into it, that was something that they were focusing on, is they didn't want this to look like
They just want people to break world records.
Right.
Just-
They wanted it to be legit as far as the judging, and it was definitely strict. No doubt about that.
Did we talk about at all what was the last world record squat meet equipped where it was so awful? Did we talk about that on here?
Oh no, but what's his name from West Side?
When we talk about the
Dave Hoff.
Dave Hoffs and that lift, I don't even know who shared that lift. Do you remember?
Dave does have Instagram, but
He doesn't know that lift wasn't on there. I checked that
okay.
a while back. I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
Who was it? Was it Chad Wesley Smith that shared that, or was it somebody else?
Oh no, I did see this. God,
Matt Wenning
It was Matt
dogging
Wenning.
it.
Yeah, he was like, "This is why I'm done with
Yeah,
multiply."
yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of the nature of multiply. Does anyone get to parallel, even to parallel multiply? Like, I don't even know if that's even possible. I've never had a multiply suit on,
But this is like more egregious than
Yeah,
average.
like- Yeah, that's what was crazy about this is that it was just not even fucking close.
right.
But I think that's the exciting thing. Like, people will knock on the USAPL and all that, but at the end of the day, they are putting together a very consistent set of standards.
Yeah.
You can look at a lot of these other meets, and it kind of just seems like, I mean, first of all, there's a federation everywhere, but it kind of just seems like depending on who's lifting that day and who's reffing, like anything can kind of go. Like there's your spotters can do almost anything they want. They can be there as much as they want. They can follow you the whole way through, which I mean, technically they're not helping you lift, but that is what's awesome about the USAPL is that you have a strict standard of competition all around, and whether you're in wherever in South Dakota or somewhere in Europe, you should be kind of getting the same product and the same results. There might be a very split second different in
which it all
which is there, but it's not this outrageous of like noticeable 6 inches high on squats or a foot high.
I'm not gonna be able to pull it up because of my shoddy internet down in the dungeon right now, but it's really bad. That one was like, there was no way a person looks at that
and thinks that's
nobody
a squat,
looks at it, and even you can't even be like, well, maybe the guy front and center had a better angle than the camera. Like, it just wasn't fucking there. But I did hear US Open had some. Brandon Lilly was up kind of defending the judging a little bit, saying he wouldn't say that it was strict, as like unfairly strict. He just said that it was good, exactly by the book, by what the rules said. They didn't
just what it should be. That's probably that makes the most sense. It's just they were calling what
it's
was
supposed to be. Like, oh fuck, you were close. Well, it's close. It's close there.
Like, just because it's 900 pounds, we're not going to give you the benefit. Like,
because the crowd's hooting and hollering.
Right. And Rob, results-wise, we probably don't have to cover that a lot. I mean, you can look at that, and you probably already have at this point. But Yuri Belkin took first in the heavyweight men, lifting at 220, because it goes by Wilks. They're comparing everyone across each other. And so I think Yuri was a 599 or something.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then second place was...
so one of the guys out of the Kabuki.
Yeah, it is, and I can't think of his name. It starts with, I think it might be Josh or something.
I was gonna say Jason, but
and I think he's only 23 years old, and he totaled like 21.
It wasn't too far behind Yuri.
And then third place was Sean Doyle.
Yep, Sean. Yeah.
And if he would have pulled his last deadlift attempt successfully, I think he would have broke 600 and 600 Wilks and won.
Oh, really?
Like, that's what he was a lockout away from it. He had it like 4 inches away from finishing it.
Yeah.
And if he would have got that, he would have broke 600 Wilks and won.
Was it Joe Sullivan?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So Sean Doyle was like 3 inches away from $40,000. Like he was literally just a deadlift lockout away from $40,000. So I was wondering what that feels like. Like, that's different than just normally missing something when you're
you've done all of the work.
Too,
like, you got it off the ground, up in the fucking air, above your knees.
Yeah,
that sucks. You just can't squeeze it out before the lights go out.
That would suck, and I'm sure. He obviously did his best, and like it's probably not. Yeah. He's probably okay with it, but it still suck.
Yeah.
Just knowing that you're that close to the money.
Yeah. One thing I thought was kind of interesting too with this meet is there was a few guys that were bombing out and not putting together a total, and kind of one of the more well-known guys that did that was Kevin Oak, and I think it was deadlift. I think he bombed out on it. And the first time I was seeing that, I was like, geez, how can these guys not put together a total? But then, like, I was reading some stuff, and it kind of put it into perspective. Like, a regular meet, you're just going, and I mean, that really is the goal of a meet, is to just kind of get a total or, maybe hit some PRs. Like, your standard meet doesn't have 40 grand on the line. So once you have 40 grand on the line, you're kind of doing things a little different. And that is, like, you need to be, it kind of is all or nothing at that point.
So when your numbers are shooting for all or nothing, you need your ability that day to be there, or else
because it's like, okay,
plus, I don't think that getting, like, and these people probably know that if I come in and I get what I can total, just like what I know for sure I can total, and the people you're competing against, that's not going to get it for you. Like, you have to have an exceptional day.
And he even had, I think, like a video. I think he put a video on YouTube, and I didn't get around to watching the whole thing, but I think kind of the summary of it was like, I could have put together a safe meet and got 5th, but that doesn't do me anything more than bombing out or whatever. He's like,
Right.
I wanted to try and get 40 grand.
Yeah.
And getting 40 grand doesn't happen by just putting together a safe total and completing a meet. So
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that once I kind of had that perspective on it, it made a lot more sense. So when you see these guys bombing out that are world class athletes.
Plus, the significant money is just at the top still. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Well, even second place.
it's not like,
was,
well, I'm really
Yeah,
glad
so
that I
second place
got
10 grand or
something
something
like that. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna come to that like, well, I did my best. I got third. The money isn't the reason you're happy about third.
Right. Right.
The money can be the reason you're happy about first.
Yeah.
But definitely not. A lot of these guys. What did Rob take? His check was like $500.
Yeah, so he would have been in that same group. I think he might have finished fourth overall in total Wilks.
Okay.
He was after Sean, but he also in 308 class. So he got. Oh wait,
Oh yeah, we haven't brought it. This is Rob Philippus.
yeah, quads like
Quads
Rob.
Like Rob on
Omaha
Instagram.
Barbell is where he lifts out of. But anyways, he squatted 959 and he got third place in his weight class and he got $500.
Yeah.
So and he's had the biggest squat of the day. And,
Yeah, 930,
and
950
he-
something.
959.
959.
He missed it on a second. I was watching the live stream at this point in time, and it wasn't cutting out, and he missed his second, and I was like, "Ooh, man!"
And he missed it bad.
Yeah.
To where when I saw his deal today, where he missed it bad, and it looked like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I was like, well,
how do
he's
you
screwed,
miss
yeah.
that way
Yeah.
and ever come back and get it? If I miss a squat like that, it just looked to me like he just didn't have it.
Right, and then he came back.
I
and-
definitely wouldn't come back and be
No.
like, well, I'm gonna lift it this time. I'd have been such a bitch about it.
Yeah,
I'd be like, oh fuck.
that took some balls on some
Some quads on his.
yeah that took some quads like Rob to come back and get that on a third. But
Hashtag balls like Rob.
But so he had a really he had a good meet and I think he benched pretty well and he would have tried for more on. He said he wanted to go for 1,000 on his third squat. If his second if 959 would have been there on a second, he was going for 1,000 on his third. Was his original plan, I think. But anyways, he still had a good meet and put up. I think all the guys in the 308 class totaled over 2,200 pounds, and he got $500. So like that kind of goes to Kevin Oak's point. Like what. Do I care about winning $300?
Yeah.
And having a safe meet, or like you might as well go for it. And
Where was this at? Was this in California?
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere in California.
California, I'm not sure where exactly. though.
And yeah, so it's not like Rob was like probably super thrilled that he went from Nebraska to fucking California.
Right.
I mean, you
Well, he
definitely
probably
don't-
was thrilled to go to California.
Yeah, but you definitely don't do that for the $500.
No, like
so.
that. With it would have. Considering the Wilkes thing and everything, for him to win overall in heavyweight, like
would've been
it's
really
tough.
gangster. Yeah.
There's a good chance that Yuri, Kevin Oak, and Larry Wheels all were kind of maybe favorites to take that because of their body weight and relative to their weight lifted. So it's tough. Like anyone in the 308 and super heavyweight, if Milanichev would have been there, he probably he would
Could
have a
have powered
chance. At,
through it,
yeah.
Also, it looked like Rob, in the last couple weeks on Instagram, he actually cut down quite a bit to hit 308 too.
Yeah. He
I
was
mean,
up
I
to
think
like
he's
what
normally
350.
Yeah,
or-
he's normally like 350 something. And he did it. I think he did it right over a fair amount of time.
Yeah.
But he was on the road to 308 for like a long time.
A lot of, if you followed, anyone out there follows any of these guys cutting that they do prior to the meet, it's some pretty intense.
Yeah, because they have the
Weight cuts.
advantage of being on a 24-hour weigh-in versus
Right.
kind of the standard 2. But yeah, with that 24-hour weigh-in, some of these guys have that down to a crazy science where they're literally dropping 20, 30 pounds to make these these
Especially
classes.
the heavy guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that can, just
Yeah.
have the weight to lose.
But even like the 220s, I mean, I don't think it's unusual for some of those guys to be in that 250, 255
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
And,
They do say Yuri walks around pretty close to what he actually they talked about this on Juggernaut or some other podcast this week, but he's the one guy out of everyone there that if you met him around, he kind of just looks a little like
well,
an
it's so
average
weird because
guy.
I think it was like last year there was like Boss of Bosses, and it was him, Dan Green, and Kevin Oak all in a class together, and Yuri beat them, and he stands next to him. It's like, oh, who brought their little brother to watch with them? Like, he doesn't look like he's made of what the other guys are made of,
Right.
but he's really good at what he does, and he managed to beat them.
His bench is
He was pretty close to 500, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he got over 500, and the way he benches, his range of motion seems so small.
Yeah, he is. For me, watching it, like a technique master.
Yeah, he is.
It's like he puts on a clinic with it. You know, a lot of these guys, it's like, whoa, like that's weird. I don't know how they're doing it, but they make it work for them.
Yeah.
And him, it's just like that is how everything should look. Like, just I don't know what you change about that because it looks perfect. So yeah, that goes with his squats. They look great. His bench, he has a big arch, super wide grip, and he just takes advantage of that. And then when you get to deadlift with him, that's like he's in a league of his own almost there.
Speaking of deadlift, we were talked about earlier Ed Cohn's record.
Yeah, it didn't get broken, so that would be your.
It was
Yuri
now the
we're
record
talking.
was on the block though. That was talked about going in.
Like
that
a lot
might
of people
fall.
were thinking that Yuri Belkin might break that, and that's kind of held as one of the
Biggest achievements.
that
that you could
record
have,
that 220 deadlift record is one of the longest standing records.
Is it just the deadlift or is it the total too?
I don't know if he still has the total. It might be both or something, but
The deadlift,
Yeah.
I think, is the one.
Yeah.
but what that they talk about that like that 90 I
Is
don't
it like 909 or 906?
yeah, I was gonna say 8 and I
Yeah,
don't
it's an
know.
odd
Yeah.
number in there.
That has stood for a long time and that people looked at as like not going to be broken for a long time. But Yuri didn't get it. So then there's this guy.
Yeah. Now I'm not even totally positive how to pronounce this guy's name. I'm guessing it's probably actually like Kyler, but
Woolham.
it's Kaler. Anyway, on Instagram it's CAILERC 40, and at 210 pounds, this is him deadlifting 915 pounds, and
This was a PR for him.
yeah, this wasn't like something he does every day, but like that is a pretty clean 915.
Yeah. And that's at 210 pounds body weight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a 400-pound person up there throwing that.
Right.
And he looks like he lifts for sure.
Yeah.
And he's strong as shit. But Jesus Christ, 915 is. We were saying there's a few people like that you run across who, you know, if you ran into him at the bar and you started talking to him about lifting and they said like, oh, I lift too. Oh yeah, oh, that's cool.
Like
you know, you look
how
like
much-
you have some muscle on you.
Yeah.
What do you deadlift? And you know, oh, like 915.
You would
there is no fucking way.
Do not like shut up. Like
I
you don't
would start-
understand weights.
I would
like,
start an argument with him over it.
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
for real.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no. And
You'd be like the world record at 220 is like 908 pounds.
well, kind of like how everybody has a friend who
Yeah.
knew somebody in high school who benched 700,
Right.
800 pounds.
It's like, well,
no,
that's
you
like
didn't.
the world record.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
No, you didn't.
But this guy did.
Yeah.
Like this is the guy that if
So
if
did
you're talking
he-
about this guy
did
and he's
he
your
lift
friend, you're
yet?
right. I don't know when.
He's not doing this meet.
Did he
though.
No,
not
he
do
wasn't-
this?
he's
did
not
do
doing this meet. No,
See, I
no.
I thought he was. So that
No.
okay. So that's why when he posted this,
like
which was the
I'm not sure when he's competing next.
okay, because he did just post that. So that must have been when Yuri didn't break it.
Yeah.
He posted the Dumb and Dumber deal saying, "So you're telling me there's a chance?"
So it's still out there for him to go get.
Yeah.
But this guy's ridiculous. Like up until a month or two ago, I didn't know much.
Yeah, I just recently found out who he is.
Strong.
It is, and
And his arms are
as it-
so
those
long.
things are like, yeah, just it doesn't make sense how
No.
long his arms are.
But it's good bencher. He's still strong bencher.
Yeah, so
too.
that's what at first when I saw it, how much he can deadlift. And it's like, well, okay, he's probably a terrible bencher,
Yeah.
which was
not true.
completely
yeah.
acceptable.
Yeah.
But no, I think he benches like mid fours, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And it's actually really funny. I saw he had like a story on his Instagram or something about a week ago, and he goes, yeah, so I had my tank top on. I just got done at the gym, and I ran to the gas station across the street, and some guys there goes, how much you bench, man? And he's like, and I think it's like 450.
Yeah,
we'll just say
I think so
450.
about that.
And the guy's like, oh, well, I got about 5 pounds on you. Like, you knew right away.
Yeah.
He's like, the guy just can't give you props.
Right,
And he was kind of going off about it, but yeah, it sounds like well, it's obvious this guy is a deadlift freak, no doubt about that.
yeah.
He's got a solid bench. Sounds like his one spot is like squat. Could maybe is his
See,
weak
there's no
point in
video.
there.
As you scroll through his feed here,
Yeah,
There's-
and that's not to knock the guy at all.
No,
Because
no.
what is he, like 22 or
Yeah, I
something?
think he's
Like,
pretty young.
so at the way he's going, he
So,
could probably
like-
put hundreds of pounds on his squat.
Yeah,
in.
so relatively speaking, his squat is his weak point. Probably.
Yeah,
You know,
Out-
like
probably
compared
out
to a
squats-
915-pound deadlift, like his squat
Yeah,
is.
out squats us. For
Yeah,
sure.
right.
But like,
Yeah.
Like,
but his
like
squat's not that good.
in context to his other lifts.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, 1894 total. That was at 198.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
impressive.
all-time world record 881 at 198. And he's at 210 now, which means he would fill out that body that weight class. I mean,
Yeah, I mean he could go compete in 220 and not cut like
just
walk
show
in.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be an exciting development watching whenever this guy's going to compete or
Yep.
make a run at this record here, because he's definitely got the tools to make something happen.
And I think a lot of people are he's gaining a lot of steam, a lot of following, and people are pretty curious to see this happen. So,
yeah, that'll be interesting to follow.
did you guys notice our friend Dan Bell in the background at all?
I did see him. in
Oh
a
wait,
lot
I
of
guess
the
if you
things there.
maybe saw him in pictures and stuff, but on the live stream I kept seeing.
Oh, does he keep popping in?
Yeah, and there's
Hold on. Could you hear Dan breathing?
Yeah, what episode was it? Do we have the Dans on?
No, it's either me or it's either me or Dan heavy breathing.
But yeah, you could see like the camera was just always on the
lifters.
where it was gonna go on, and then like in the breaks, people would go up there and take pictures and stuff. And there was one time when Dan and Boss and I think Ed Cohn and a few of those guys were there taking pictures, and their back was to the camera.
Yeah.
And you could see Dan reaching around and fingering Boss's butthole, like as they were taking the picture. Like I gotta get, I could tell who they all were just from from the back, because they're all kind of
You could,
Distinct.
I would
yeah,
say
they're all distinct.
Dan and Boss walking down the road together are like a cartoon adventure waiting to happen.
Have you,
Someone make an
Boss's
animated
beard
series of that?
Boss's
even more
beard is
ridiculous.
incredible,
Yeah.
but he's also like, and he'll be okay with this, I think, like a troll-sized person, but is just super fucking jacked and thick. And Dan is a truck of a man, also with a huge beard. So you got both sides of the spectrum. I also thought it was funny they had. It was a picture they all had of themselves there, but I noticed their credentials, and on Boss's it said coach, on Dan's it said coach, and on Ed Cohn's it said goat.
Yeah, so
Which is fucking great.
I wonder who Dan and Boss were coaching.
Oh, nobody. Probably not
It was
anybody.
an honor title.
Yeah.
Maybe they were actually coaching someone, but I thought my guess was that it was just like, yeah, these guys can come.
Rapping knees and slapping backs.
Yeah.
Speaking of the prize money, I don't think we brought this up about the prize money for the Arnold Strongman. Do you remember? Oh yeah, you guys. This might be the first time you guys heard this, because you guys got the super sweet premium seating for the Arnold Strongman final when we were there.
Oh yeah.
I had to pay to sit
with the commoners.
To sit in literally the worst. Like the only way you could be
In a worse
further
spot.
away would be if you were one row behind me. That's it. And these are the people that I'm talking about now. So we had
So you're saying it's more exclusive to be behind you than it would be to even sit in the front?
probably, Anyway, so you guys were down enjoying.
And for what it's worth, I had an entire row
Yeah.
to myself.
Oh, yeah,
I
and I had
15
like
chairs on each side
I
of
had
me.
like 6 seats next to me that were completely empty.
So
too.
the way our credentials worked out
It's
is
the principle.
I think it is just the principle.
Yeah.
So like we got media credentials, and so like it was Tommy was the photographer, so he got like all the closest shit. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Tommy, you still owe me one, but
we'll see.
but then Tanner, as technically the editor, Tanner got media seating credential, which
and they
meant,
must have just thrown us an extra bone, I think.
which
and
just meant
said,
like you sit there. But then me and Sean's, we were like media general, which means nah, bitch.
Yeah.
like you got to pay $50 to sit in
Yeah.
here, and that $50 is for the worst seat left.
Right.
Because we were thinking maybe we could sort it out. Like, oh, maybe we do just get in, and nope, no chance. And anyway, we're going through all the stuff, and going through the final, and they bring out the strongman stuff, and these guys behind me like were only interested in like the physique stuff, and not even like the big bodybuilders, like just like the board short guys, which is fine, and there's nothing wrong with it, except for like they were like shitting on the strongman stuff, and I'm like, and then when they announced the prize money at the very end, after like the physique people got like, first place maybe got like $4,000 or $5,000, and down to third place got like $1,500, and they're like, it's bullshit. Third place only gets $1,500. Jesus Christ, did you see it? And they're also like mad because like the guy they wanted to win didn't win. They're like, what the? Oh, geez, he got screwed. Did you see him? And I'm like, I didn't see anything from this far away.
And what I did see, they all looked exactly the same.
They all look like about, I don't know, like 500 people that I see at the beach and stuff, and the pools in the summers. Like no offense, and I'm sure there's more to it than that, but like none of these people looked exceptional.
Right.
So anyway, but that's not the point of this. Then the strongman announces their money, and they're like, first place was like $70,000, and then it was like 20, and then it was like 10 or something like that. And they're sitting behind me like then they're going off, and they're like, this bullshit. How in the world they get $70,000 for this? Like, how in the world is that just? And I just couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
So I turned around and I said, well, there sure is a lot less 6'8", 6'9", 440-pound men carrying 1,500 pounds on their back and putting 500 pounds overhead, and like they kind of have the market cornered on that. Yeah. There is no shortage of 165-pound dudes who look okay tan, wearing swim trunks.
Have a good at get ripped and
and not only that. Remember when they announced the physique guy, like the guy who won it? They were interviewing him afterwards, and Arnold is up there interviewing. They're like, "So what was your how much do you train? How much you been training?" He's like, "Well, I did like a 8 or 10 week prep." And it was like, okay, like Arnold's asking you this question, like, how many hours a day you're in the gym? And it was like, well, it's mostly nutrition. And we're like, so you're up here telling me that you're like the best in the world at this thing, and like training's not even really on your radar. You just eat less, and you only did some things for like 10 weeks.
Yeah.
That fucking guy has no idea what like Brian Shaw has to go through just to eat
for 10 years.
Just to eat enough food alone is the work.
Yeah.
Not counting the actual work.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But these
which is a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But these fucking guys, and they also had like one or two of the women's like bikini competitors who they were like in love with apparently, and they're like, oh, she totally should have won.
And that's the one. And see, this would be really interesting to actually have someone on to really explain the fine points.
Yeah. Because I couldn't tell.
I don't know
of them.
And it's
apart.
one of those things like maybe if you know a little bit, like it gets easy. But especially the women, like I cannot figure out what they get judged on. Well, like I get it, they probably get judged on like their muscle definition and stuff. But I'm like, they look so similar. Like if it looked like they had a contest to see like we need like 20 people to look the same, and it's like you guys did it. Like
you guys are all the best. Yeah. So that was my thing. Is it was like I'm like how many Hafthor Bjornsons are there walking around this earth? That's why he gets $70,000. How many Brian Shaw gets $70,000 for winning this. Mm-hmm. Like because there's not enough of them.
Right.
Like these guys, Jesus. There's no fucking, it's just not that much into the margins. Like you're not way out, you're not an outlier.
Right,
None of those, the guys that won it is not an outlier physique wise even, I don't think.
No. The bodybuilding guy.
Guys.
That one was like the one that you could actually tell a difference between the guys. Like
because there's more mass. There's just more to look at.
So if someone's very impressive, it's very noticeable.
Like this guy's back is bigger.
Like,
but
who's the guy
at
that
165-pound dudes, like they're just like, it's like, I don't know which one of you looks better. I think y'all should eat more. For sure. You're in a sport about muscle. You should have some of it. Get some of that first. And but anyway, the bodybuilding. Who was it that won it? It was Cedric McMillan. And Dallas McCarver. We're down.
And those two guys are
the hands down. Like
fucking crazy. They both were a level above everybody else. You
Yeah.
could see it, and I could see when they were going side by side, like a lot of the. I mean,
thought
not
McMillan-
being
I thought
educated.
Cedric was.
I
Better
thought Cedric
too.
deserved it, and solely
Yeah.
because I thought he was bigger.
Me too. It's like that guy has more.
There
muscle.
was-
And it wasn't bigger like bloated. It was
No, it was
like,
like-
it was muscle.
Yeah.
There was a few things that they would do, with their posing, where I could see that like Dallas had, like all of a sudden he would do something. You'd be like, oh, well, at this moment right now,
Yeah.
Dallas is kind of taking this. So that was interesting for me, having never seen any of it, but I could tell a difference between the two there.
Yeah.
And that's why those guys get paid real money.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like big money.
Yeah, but I don't want to like.
Because they're outliers.
Yeah, they're holy
it's-
shit. Are they outliers?
Your average Joe isn't gonna walk even after 10 years of trying isn't gonna walk on stage and compete with them. Just like any of us after 10 years of trying aren't gonna walk on stage and compete with Brian Shaw and Hafthor Bjornsson.
No.
It's just, but like someone with a year of training and that's already kind of like
just has some muscle,
like that,
has the discipline
could.
to get lean.
Yeah, they could compete on that stage.
And that's the deal, is I don't think there is as much of a genetic component in separating you.
Right.
When it just seems to me like kind of a middle of the pack, very high discipline competition, but I don't know. It's like watching a whole bunch of people compete for fourth place, because I was there to watch the giant freak dudes lift heavy things, and then the dudes with so much muscle that like nobody wants to fuck them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because those dudes were so big, and I was in the worst seats in the whole building for sure.
Well, there's the guy behind you.
Except for the guy who then hated me the rest of the night. And I also do wonder if maybe it was because it was only the final, and he thought that maybe they
Just
got
for that?
$70,000
For just the log?
for pressing a log.
Yeah.
But they, you know how Bill Kazmaier and
Our friend of the podcast.
Bill Kazmaier, and why am I messing up his name? Mark
Henry.
Henry. They said a lot of things about the things that went on earlier that day and the day before.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's no way they watched it and thought that was the only thing that had happened.
Right.
But anyway, if you were sitting behind us at the Arnold, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was my prize money segue.
Yeah. It was a good one.
So, should we need to talk about the prize money that Massenomics gives away for the strongman every year?
Yeah, what did we give away? We
couple
gave away
$100 bucks.
We gave away I think maybe $700 in prize money or something, $600. I don't know. It was something like that. I would be the one to remember.
You got most of it.
Well, and I was
It was a self-serving.
And I got some of it also.
Yeah. It was like $600 or $700, which is not too shabby.
Not too bad.
You know. And there was also cases of barbecue sauce on the line, so
Which retail value, I don't even know what you put a price on
I
that.
don't think you can put a price on it.
I mean, there is a price that would be on it.
Literally is.
But as far as like what the impact that a case of
has
Old West
literally been
barbecue
put
sauce would have on your life, it's invaluable.
Yeah,
really.
that's true.
Yep, without a doubt.
What else did we have today? What about iTunes reviews?
Yeah.
Do we have any?
Oh yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah,
some?
we have multiple.
First off, I want to go back to last week's. We had one from. It was listed as Ruby. That was actually Becky, friend of the podcast. Becky.
right.
Becky's an OG.
Thanks.
One of our female listeners who's not our moms. Mm-hmm. So probably the only one. So thanks, Becky. She told me that I have to stop fucking harassing them at the end of each episode. She's like, I did it so you can stop fucking yelling at us.
So it's working though. We've gotten a few reviews, and that's what it takes. So we're not going to stop. But
Yeah, sorry,
thank
Becky.
you,
But everyone
thank you
but
to her,
Becky.
and then like the couple that we got here to recently. Thank you for guys for listening. But like you're still going to have to listen to us
Bitch at everyone else.
yeah.
You could also bitch at other people.
Right.
If you know anyone who listens to the podcast.
We're going to try to turn this whole thing into a negative experience.
I want you.
like peer pressure them. Like
I'm gonna
sick
need
of them
you-
guys talking about
I'm
it.
gonna need
like-
you to bully them into leaving us reviews.
Okay. One of these two, I'm going to say, is the best. The the funniest review we've ever gotten out of the 22. This is probably the funniest.
Okay.
Very creative, and like I want to know who did it because it is funny.
Okay.
But I'll read that one second.
All right.
The other one's just a good review, and it title of that one is Must Listen, and it's from Trip Daniel. I look forward to the shows each week. Absolutely hilarious banter back and forth and great information to go along with it. If you spend any time in the gym, you'll find almost everything they talk about relatable, or if nothing else, very entertaining.
Chalk one up for the good guys.
Yeah. Do you Trip Daniel? Is that
I don't. It doesn't.
It's probably Daniel Tripp. I'm gonna guess.
Yeah. So thanks, Daniel.
Or Mr. Daniel if we're
Yeah,
wrong.
Mr. Tripp. Now this last one it's from Michael John 151.
Okay.
Anyone? Okay.
Nope.
Anyways, I wondered, we almost need to figure out a reward system for people that have the best one here. Like this might have to go in a contest at the end of the year with anyone else that can try and top this review. He said, and it's very short, but that that's not a negative.
No.
The title, which is important, he says, "Creative Take on a Mystery Podcast." Then the one sentence here is, "You'll end every episode trying to figure it out. ... Do they even lift, bro?" And when I read that the first time, I was like, nice.
Oh,
that's good.
The question's been asked
It's
through the
a
ages.
mystery. That's the mystery. Do we even lift?
It's really It's just like at the end of Serial. We'll get to that at the end.
So good reviews. 2 very good reviews. Different, but both.
I'm hoping
good.
they were both 5 stars.
5 out of 5, both of them.
Good.
Oh
so,
yeah.
So people are listening.
That's good.
That's the first time we've had multiple to read in 1 week.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, it was just still 2, but that's more than one.
That is multiple.
Yeah.
Did you have anything in your sack for today? Or is that all business stuff?
Not really. I guess I'll just show you what I have in this sack.
Just
fun
half a
sack.
sack. It's not relevant, but we've got some time.
We could talk about how we're going to have a woman's T-shirt.
Oh yeah, finally.
That's
Yep.
in my sack here.
Something in Tanner's sack for the ladies.
Ooh, ladies love digging in my sack. Just ask my wife.
So we have this tremendous. It's a sweet maroon. Was it a heathered maroon?
Yeah, it's a heathered maroon.
It would look just lovely on all the ladies out there.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
To
We're
die for.
not gonna put anything on it. We're just selling these shirts
We're reselling blank shirts
for
now.
the ladies.
It's
But,
from,
they've
it's from Massenomics.
We've got a
so-
lot of requests for a women's shirt, and we just figured we'd sell some blouses.
So it's gonna be a good shirt. So you'll see that coming down the pipeline, not
Yeah.
too far out.
What are we thinking? That shirt OG logo on it, probably.
Yeah, it'll have the
So,
Massenomics logo.
we also expect to do that as a pre-order.
Here's a hat that I also have in my bag. And someone wants to purchase this hat from me.
It's a one-off custom.
Yeah, it's a one-off hat that it ended up being a little different than what I was. Someone wanted a hat this color, but see the difference with this fitted hat is it's unstructured.
Yeah,
It's more
You
dad
know?
hat-ish.
It's a
it's
little
a dad hat.
like try this on your head, Tyler. It's also pretty
Squeeze
big.
that on that Melanie
It's
yours
a
there.
flex. It's a flex fit hat, but it's pretty. It's like very large.
Holy.
Yeah, it like fits
So
my
it's
head.
It's the same size as our normal large XL flex fit hats, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it
Bigger.
looks like it's barely even squeezing your head at all. Like,
Yeah, and my head is enormous. This is definitely an unstructured hat.
Yeah,
It's weird.
so that has a different look to it,
I
doesn't
didn't
it?
know that was a
Yeah.
thing that hats had.
So I'm not gonna sell this to the person that wanted it because the person doesn't want that. Like,
I also think that like
well, you have
this-
to be very select and have a head that big.
yeah,
this type of hat should, instead of being fitted, have like a leather loop and strap on the back.
Yeah. So if your
If your
fan-
dad is a fan
Yeah,
of the
and
Texas Longhorns,
if any of you have enormous heads and
our dads,
and like this look of a hat, I will make you a good deal on this hat.
yeah.
So that's not really sack worthy, but I just figured this might be a way to
Some
get
shit
someone.
we're trying to
yeah.
get rid of.
if you have a huge head, I will make you a good deal on a hat.
Like most of the things in Tanner's sack, it's something he just needs to
I
unload.
just got to get it out. It's been hanging around in this sack forever, and it's starting to get old and all
Smells
congealed.
weird. It's watery.
Consistency is all off.
So that's it for the sack. Was there anything else we needed to cover today, you guys? Dudes.
Friend of the podcast, Blaine Sumner, was posting more about our.
Yeah,
that was
Blaine
breaking
was-
news last time we were
Blaine-
on the podcast.
yeah, that was-
so people
that was
are
all going
probably
down
curious,
live.
like they're on a cliffhanger of
Yeah.
what's happened since then.
So basically, at this point, Blaine is basically best friends with us now. Would you say?
yeah,
I mean, if you used to be best friends with Blaine Sumner, you're not
Sorry.
anymore.
Sorry.
So, Blaine has. I think at this point we are. We were for a while in. That shirt was in 4 of his last 6 Instagram posts, which means he's wearing it, which is good.
So what you could do, if you've bought the shirt too, you put a post out with you in the shirt. You don't necessarily have to chug a chicken shake while you do it like Blaine did.
But if you
could.
wanted to, it'd be we'd
And-
share that for sure.
Yeah, if you post something with your lift shirt, I will share that.
Yeah, tag us in
We,
it.
we love to see it.
Yeah.
Also, now I did notice though that Blaine's wife Jessica has not worn her shirt yet.
No,
It's probably
going
saving
on?
it for something really special. I bet.
that's true. Like that's perfect occasion that
Yeah.
she hasn't even thought of yet.
Like a wedding.
Yeah.
Something where you need to really impress people. I can't think of a better thing.
I picture that will be like a pajama shirt for her. Or something
Probably.
Like that.
We don't even really know how that fits. We had with the women's shirts, it was the women. Well, we got extra smalls.
Yeah, we
now.
do have extra smalls
in the lift
now.
shirt. We have extra smalls. We still don't have it in a women's cut because it's too buku.
Yeah,
But we have the extra small because we were finding the women's small
it's too big.
or the men's small.
Yeah.
just doesn't fit anybody.
No.
Didn't fit small men and doesn't fit regular sized women.
No.
Or even most women. So yeah, so we've got extra smalls, and we can do really an amount of smalls if you wanted to order.
Do you have any
We have a good
birthday
So-
parties, company giveaways, bar mitzvahs,
with a lot of small,
quinceañeras?
maybe like a children's
Yeah.
birthday party.
who like to lift
teen-
and
yeah.
drink beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of small shirts, so
Somebody
we
may or may
we could
not.
perhaps offer volume discounts on those.
Somebody may or may not have entered in an order wrong, and we got literally 10 times the amount of small shirts that we ordered
Of the least popular size
of the least
shirts.
popular size. The size we ordered other sizes to compensate for, we got that instead. So
What we have been selling a lot of is the large sizes, so that's pretty cool. That
2
you
X's
big guys,
and
yeah,
3 X's.
big guys out there are liking the Weekend Warrior. So
where it's at,
here's
man.
here's to the big guys out
Yeah.
there.
This one's for the big
Yeah,
guys.
since for you 2X's and above.
well, I think that's everything I got. Anybody else? We good to go?
That's pretty much the way I heard it.
All right. So let's run through all the stuff. We bitched at you enough about the iTunes review, but definitely do that, or we're
Did
going.
we bitch them?
I don't know.
We didn't really bitch that much.
No. All right, I'm gonna do that now. You're still listening, and you know you haven't left us an iTunes review, and you've listened to this. Isn't even your first episode. If it is, you should still leave us a review. But if this is not your first episode and you haven't left us a review, we're actually disappointed in you. It hurts our feelings. We're just insulted.
And we've kind of got the momentum on our side right now. Let's keep it going.
I
Let's
think
snowball this thing.
I'm reminded of a quote by, I don't know, we're just going to say Marilyn Monroe, because that's who says all these things, that all it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing.
That fits perfectly here,
So
doesn't
get
it?
off your
Really
ass
That is
and
like,
leave us a review, because
Yeah.
whether it was Franklin Roosevelt or Marilyn
Abraham
Monroe
Lincoln.
or Abraham
Lincoln.
Lincoln,
That
or,
was Abraham Lincoln.
or whoever says that, you need to do something. Leave us a review.
Let's turn that we turned 1 into 2.
Let's turn 2 into 4.
Yeah, like
We'll just double
let's
it every
go-
week.
Yeah,
That's
let's
all
go
we need to do.
I think-
4 of you out there, decide amongst yourself which
Yeah,
4.
call each other. You guys all talk.
And get us 4 reviews.
And I think then if we could do 8 the next week and 16 the next, I mean, I'm no mathematician, but by the end of next year, we'll have
Quite a few.
75 million reviews.
Yeah. Yeah, because after 16, it really goes up.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
starts getting up there.
So, but yeah, so that'll do it. Make sure you do that. Also, if you want to help support the podcast monetarily, you can either just give us money, just outright, or we can also do that in exchange for goods, which you can find at Massenomics.com, where those goods are located, including things like the dad hat. We have, we've got all our other shirts, hats, apparel, all your other Massenomics needs are there. Also, when you are spending money on Massenomics.com, there also is all of our articles, other podcast stuff, links to all our videos. All that stuff is there. Make sure you check that out. That's it for the website. So supporting us via Facebook, like, share, telephone, tell a friend. Make sure you follow Massenomics on Facebook. And follow us all on Instagram. I'm Tyler. You can find me at Tyler F. and Stone. That's Tyler EFF Stone.
I'm Tommy. You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
And Tanner.
I'm Tanner, the official Massenomics Instagram at Massenomics. And Professor Shans, if you're listening, this is a call out. Last week we talked about how someone said they wanted you to get Instagram and you didn't get Instagram. And you yelled at me when I asked you about getting Instagram too many times.
We should actually, can we share what he said?
Shans, he yelled at me for telling him to get Instagram after someone... He yelled at me.
And then, like, where did it go off the rails here? What did he say?
I think it was something. He's busy.
Yeah,
He's
he said
I'm too busy.
I don't have time
asshole,
right
or-
now.
yeah.
Yeah, it was something about he was too busy. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm sure that's probably because of you just having one job and no kids and a girlfriend who doesn't live in your town. Why wouldn't you? I mean, what else are you doing with your time? Listen, Shans, we also know that you don't listen to this. So
He said, damn it, I'm busy. Give me a few days.
Yeah. What we have found, if you've been, for people that follow him on Facebook, which you should, is that what he did to be busy was spent the next 4 days, 5 days, just arguing with people on Facebook about politics and economics. And I don't remember how long it took me to create my Instagram account, but I think it was like,
What is it?
It links to Facebook. I think now there's like a box you check that says, "Yep, get me Instagram too," and you're done.
You have Instagram.
like it was like 45 seconds.
Yeah, I think you actually like with Facebook, you just have it. You don't know it.
Yeah.
You don't know it until you say the button like, "Yeah, I want it," and then it's official.
I literally less than 5 minutes though to get Instagram.
Yeah,
If you don't,
yeah. So we're gonna start giving out Austin's personal cell phone number if he doesn't have Instagram
by next
episode.
Yeah.
That is an ultimatum. So keep your eyes out before somebody snatches up his handle, but we'll get that out there. So thanks a lot for listening, everybody, and stay strong.
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.